Hakim always challenged himself to go outside of his comfort zone. Hakim would want people to remember him by helping someone else. That every time one thought about him, if they helped someone else in need, he would be truly happy about that.
Hakim Bhai was a pure soul and he was excessively independent. He was decent, really nice. He really liked the idea of giving, and he was probably the most generous person of our family.
Hakim was a quite introvert guy, as I remember. He was quite focused. He talked when he need to talk. That's what my impression of Hakim was.
He was far away from gossip, far away from bad mouthing. And I believe that this is something that he would really want people to follow.
Hakim was definitely a focused person. He had his goals and his priorities set. He had a giving personality and genuinely cared for other people.
He was a very caring person. Extremely caring. He would look after you without any best interest of him, whether it was emotional support, physical support, financial support, you name it. He was there to offer his care and love on it.
Really seeing him always dedicated and being on the field early and displaying that passion. As a teenager, when I met him, I was maybe not the most dedicated on time or always there, but it was good to see somebody around the same age as me have that same, that level of dedication, that level of passion to kind of inspire me.
First seeing him getting into soccer, to what he became, it was really nice. I was older than him, so of course mentoring him, seeing him grow, it was always a pleasure. He would always bring a sense of humbleness to the field. A lot of people, we were younger, so we would get hot-headed at specific things that would happen if someone kicked the ball wrong, let's say. But Hakim was always level-headed. He was always cool, calm, collected, and he wouldn't be the type to yell, but he would be the type to show improvement the next time he plays.
Nice crossing.
He was always changing up his passions, always changing up his interests, never staying stuck on one thing, always learning something new, always wanting to experience something new, always wanting to hearing a new perspective.
I think Hakim's interest changed with time. As he grew up, I remember him being really into sports, and then there was a time that he really liked to read. Then he wanted to study film.
He was into bicycling. He had some of those physical interests as well. But most recently, he had his creative interest that he wanted to pursue. Acting, music, theater, dance, you name it.
The best part about all of this was that he always did what he was interested in, and he was always passionate enough and hardworking enough to pursue what he wanted and his passions. And I think he did a great job at all of that.
Intelligent, smartness, IQ out of this world. A reader, avid reader, very avid reader.
We still have his books that have his name written on it, and it really motivates us to read.
He was different. I remember waking up late evenings to watch football with him. He was one of the only people who, at his age, could talk about books, talk about current affairs, had opinions, right? And I'm talking about when he was in his early teenage years, when a lot of people were just interested in either TV shows or movies or cartoons or just friends, he would be reading. And that's Hakim for you. He always had an opinion about something.
After reading, it was soccer. I feel like soccer was the only thing that made him outdoorsy, because other than that, he had an introverted personality, and he was all about either books or reading or video games.
Very introvert, passionate, and loves to do whatever that he wanted to do in his life, and we can see that his achievement that he have achieved.
He was always reading, he was always immersed in stories, and many of the times that I remember, these stories were not just like traditional fictional stories, they were almost non-fictional content that kids don't really get excited about.
When Hakim was with us, I was his headmistress. I very clearly remember Hakim as a very respectful boy. That young boy never failed to have a smile on his face. You could see him as a symbol of humility, humbleness. हमेशा अच्छे अल्फाज में उसने भी हमें याद रखा और हमने भी उसे याद रखा. पढ़ाई में भी माशाल्लाह से हाकिम का जो रवैया था बहुत ज़िम्मेदाराना था. बहुत टीचर्स के साथ उसके बात करने का अंदाज़, अब जब हम सोचते हैं तो हमें बहुत याद आता है, लेकिन खुशी के साथ याद आता है.
I knew Hakim since my high school, middle school, early school, everything. So we started school together. We were in generation school back in Karachi. And then I think till almost the 10th grade we were together from the start till the end. Hakim was one of those people I vividly remember. Whoever he was close with, he was the best guy with him. He was himself with him. And then I'm extremely, extremely grateful that I was one of those people who he was very close to.
He was a bubbly kid, like he always used to laugh and he was smiling all the time. And he was different, a little bit unique. His thinking process, his perspective was always a little different from everyone else in the class. Hakim and I actually got punished during the assembly, and we were forced to run around the ground. And even though that seemed like a punishment, but Hakim took that as a fun thing, was like, chalo, it's something like fun, like an exercise. We're doing some exercise and we're missing some time in the class as well. So it was a little fun thing as well.
He would always challenge them to think another perspective, to act another way.
Hakim was one of the best students of my class. He was so obedient, so kind, so pure. He was one of the best. I mean, the list is so long that, like, it's going to take days for me to, end up. But he was very, very smart, mashallah. When I remember his face, like, he was so adorable and his smile was so cute that, like, he would win the hearts of everyone.
Hakim had a very distinctive smile, and it just made me feel like this was another joke, this was another prank, that he's just gonna stand up and then come out laughing and be like, I tricked you.
जिस चीज़ ने ज़्यादा मुतासिर किया या ये कहें कि फ़ौरन ही जिस पे मेरी नज़र गई वो ये था कि उसकी आँखें थीं और उसकी एक अजीब यहाँ से होठों की तरफ से एक दबी सी मुस्कुराहट होती थी. कोई भी शरारत हो जाए, कोई भी बात हो जाए तो वो उसकी आँखें बोलती थी और उसकी मुस्कुराहट और जो उसमें बर्दाश्त थी वो मैं आज तक नहीं भूल सकती. He had very shiny, glowing eyes, and whenever he would be very excited, we could feel his excitement through his eyes.
This is a very weird memory, but after watching him, because he used to have these Nesvita wale jo milk ke nahi hote chote chote cartons, and he grew really fit in like a few months. And I was like, dude, like, what's happening? What are you doing? Are you going to the gym and stuff? He's like, no, I'm drinking milk. I was like, are you serious? That's it? He's like, yeah, man. And he showed me his like wo Nesvita wale jo hote the. And since that day onwards till like the end of generations, I started keeping like a Nesvita. And I don't think anybody knows this, but like I started keeping that because I was like, I'm gonna get fit as well.
He had a very pleasant disposition and always eager to help others. I remember during our early years at South Campus, we introduced a new role of media reporter in terms of leadership. And I think Hakim was the first one to step up and, take up that role. And alhamdulillah, he played a very significant role in making documentaries, covering the event.
He was always smiling. And I have never seen him with a sad face.
I'm doing this video up in the mountains because I believe Hakim would have found it very beautiful up here. I think that he was a beautiful man, very compassionate, had a very deep soul, and was figuring himself out in his life, trying to learn what he cared about and what he loved in life. And I feel very blessed I got to know him and be influenced by him.
The way I experienced with Hakim, it was very memorable, especially the time when we needed some support. He was always there.
So this one time when he was in the Coast Guard, he was stationed in Cocoa Beach. And Arusami and Essen, we visited down to Florida to visit him. He had his own little studio apartment, and we know how such a minimalist he is. So he was living in a small apartment, but he still was very accommodating. He made space for us. He got more blankets, more towels. And when he came back, I was going in the shower, and there was just one bottle there. So I questioned him, do you have shampoo or anything for us? He's like, no, this is it. And I looked at it. It wasn't a regular 2-in-1 kind of deal. It was 50-in-1. It could be used for shampoo, conditioner, soap, washing your car, washing your dishes, washing your house, anything you can imagine. It was one soap that could be used for everything. So it just shows you how simple Hakim was. And he wasn't involved in, he didn't care for any luxury. As long as it was getting done, he was fine with it.
Hakim was a very self-motivated, disciplined and organized person. His services in US Coast Guard really influenced me. His whole life journey has taught me a lesson that how to push boundaries for yourself and to never give up, to achieve new goals in life.
बहुत ही प्यारे, बहुत ही होनहार शागिर्द थे और हर किसी की मदद करने वाले, मगर बहुत खामोश तबीयत के. अगर कोई मिजाज समझते भी थे तो सिर्फ ज़ेरे रब मुस्कुराते थे वो.
Usually I am someone who engages in a discussion very much in class, and he was very much the opposite. He would not engage as much, so I thought that maybe he's disinterested in my class. And then I did an exercise in the class. The student had to explain me something back in about 3 minutes. And when it came to him, I still remember the time was 3 minutes, but he spoke for about 27 minutes. And all the time I was just looking at him like, where were you all the time? Even after 20 years of RAC, he still ranks in the top 3.
We had our fair share of ups and downs in our relationship together. But thank you for always looking after me and for always taking me under your belt and for always challenging me and helping me grow. I would not be the person I am today without you. I miss you every day.
I feel like Hakim, since we were younger, he would always push us to try different things that we weren't comfortable with, things that were outside the box. I tried oysters the first time with him. I hated it, but he did make me try it. And that's something that I still remember because normally I wouldn't do that. And even my parents weren't able to make me eat things that I didn't want to eat. But Hakim was one person that was able to push us to do things that we wouldn't normally do.
I think throughout his life, he kept wanting people to see a different perspective on things. You could put him with kids and he will have a conversation with them. You put him with adults and he will be able to have a conversation with them at their level.
My earliest memory of Hakim is me copying him and he being very annoyed with me because Hakim is the bookworm in the family. Hakim used to love reading. He was always very independent and it didn't really matter to him what anybody else had. He was very sure of himself and that always made him very true to himself. And I hope that's what everybody remembers most about him.
Something I loved about him was how he would memorize poems. I don't think a lot of people do that now. So it's something I wanted to do and I struggle with this still, but he would just memorize poems and recite them to friends or even just himself. You know, one time we were hanging out around a fire and I go over and talk to him and I hear him like reciting a poem to himself. I'm like, what are you doing, Hakim? And he is just reciting a poem that he had memorized.
अल्लाह ताला इनके वालिदैन को सब्र जमील अता फरमाए और अल्लाह ताला उनको जन्नतुल फिरदौस में आला मकाम अता फरमाए.
I know that I'm definitely going to miss him a lot, and I'm sure that he had a positive impact on everyone that he knew, and all of his friends are also going to miss him.
So I just want to say that I'm going to miss you, Hakim, a lot. And you're going to always be in our memories, and you're going to live forever.
May Allah bless him with the best abode in the hereafter, inshallah.
May Allah bless him in the highest place of paradise. That's my dua for him.
Hakim's legacy will always remain with us, and he was a very close member of our family.
कहते हैं ना कि अपनी दुनिया आप पैदा कर अगर जिंदों में है. वाकई हाकिम हमारे दिलों में जिंदा है.
I would not be the person I am today without you. I miss you every day. I think about you every day. I miss your voice messages. I miss your calls. I miss calling you. I miss reaching out to you. Thank you for helping me grow. Inshallah, I will meet you in Jannah.